Welcome back to a world where holy is a costume and monster depends on who's writing the pamphlet. Poppy just survived a betrayal shaped like the truth, and Castile, yes, the jawline formerly known as Hawk, has the nerve to suggest a partnership that sounds suspiciously like an engagement and exactly like a trap. She's furious, freer, and done being furniture in anyone's church. He needs leverage to save his people. She needs answers that won't lie to her face, so they do the unthinkable. Keep talking, call it a ceasefire, call it foreplay with paperwork. Either way, the next step is simple and impossible. Walk into Atlantia together without killing each other on the way. Anger looks good on Poppy, not the reckless kind, the clarified kind. She's done mistaking obedience for safety. The veil is off, the dagger is honest, and every room that once treated her like a relic now has to deal with a person. She wants Ian, not rumors. She wants answers about the Ascended that don't come stamped with a prayer, and she wants to stop feeling like a story someone else is telling. Castile stands there with his ruthlessness and his inconvenient respect, offering a bargain she can't forgive and maybe can't refuse. She doesn't melt, she negotiates. She sets lines, then defends them. You can hear it in her voice, the quiet click of a lock turning from the inside. Whatever comes next, it won't be the maiden's script. It'll be hers. If you're riding with Poppy reclaiming the pen, hit like and subscribe. Next, we open the lore and the wounds, starting with Atlantia and the Wolven. Here's the mess the pamphlet skipped. Atlantia wasn't some shadow nest of villains. It was a kingdom with rules, bonds, and a memory of being robbed. The Wolven aren't pets. They're oath with teeth, guardians whose loyalty is louder than any crown's decree. Stand near them and you feel it. The room paying attention. And that shimmering miracle called the Ascension, turns out miracles have invoices. The blessings skim life from the many to polish the few. Poppy learns to hear it, fear masquerading as faith, hunger sold as holiness. She's done buying. Castile, annoyingly, has the receipts. He brings her into Atlantean politics like a man tossing knives, honest about the danger, ugly about the cost. Clarity burst. The sides aren't good versus evil, they're story versus story. Poppy has the one blade both sides fear, choice. Castile proposes, and no. This is not a sunset moment. It's chess. Marriage means protection under Atlantean law, leverage against the Ascended, a shield made of vows instead of steel. Poppy hears every angle, the political calculus, the personal ache, the trap-shaped kindness. She doesn't swoon. She interrogates. What changes, what doesn't, what happens if she says no? Then she says the only thing that makes sense, if there's a vow, it won't be a muzzle. If there's a union, it will not. Convert her into someone's symbol again. Castile agrees like a man relieved to be challenged. It's not romance, it's respect that happens to spark. They move, because standing still gets you surrounded. The roads are teeth, craven lunges that feel coordinated, hunters in black who prey with blades first, and dissenter flare-ups that prove the Ascended's rot is spreading. Poppy trains until her lungs argue, until her dagger answers faster than doubt. She lays down rules. Touch requires consent, strategy requires truth, and if anyone tries to make her a symbol again, she'll carve her way out of the frame. Castile tests those rules and then keeps them, which is somehow worse for Poppy's heart. The Wolven circle like living oaths, reading every heartbeat in the camp, bristling when lies walk close. Nights are counsels, grief, and stubborn laughter. Days are dust and the taste of decisions. Through it all, Poppy's goal stays pointed. Find Ian. If she has to burn a path through polite lies and holy rituals, fine. She's fire with a face now. The bond shows its teeth. When Poppy stumbles, the Wolven steady her before gravity remembers the rules. When fear spikes, they answer like a chorus. It isn't magic you wear, it's a promise you live inside. Castile treats trust the same way. Earned, not declared. He hands her information the old hawk would have hidden, watches her weigh it, doesn't flinch when she chooses the hard road. Poppy's senses sharpen. Pain is a language she can translate. Emotion is a current she can feel. It's thrilling and awful, because how do you stand upright under that much noise? She learns to anchor in the small things, the bow grip, the breath before release, the exact shape of no. Midpoint truth, love if it happens, will be a verb or it will be nothing. Rumors braid into a road. Ian is alive, says one voice. Ian is different, says another. And they don't say different like a haircut. The closer they get to the ascended sphere, the more the world smells like old blood under incense. Officials smile the way predators do when the herd looks tired. Poppy keeps seeing the maiden she used to be reflected back at her, soft, silent, starving, and it makes her hands shake with purpose. She will find her brother. She will not let the machine grind another life into sacrament. Castile is there, steady as a held line, but he won't promise a happy discovery. He promises only this: truth, however it lands. The promise is enough to make you love him or hate him. Poppy does a little of both. Door opens. History walks in without knocking. Ian isn't the brother Poppy left. He's been rewritten by the very system she's fighting. The Ascended don't bless, they feed. The Craven aren't a curse. They're the collateral damage of a hunger dressed in silk. And Poppy's blood, quiet all this time, turns out to be a declaration. She isn't a relic chosen to decorate an altar. She's something older, rarer, the kind of lineage that makes tyrants check the exits. The confrontation is brutal in that honest way. No hissy theatrics, just the sound of illusions collapsing. Castile doesn't gloat. He stands beside her while her world caves and refuses to let her fall into the hole it leaves. The choice tightens: cling to the old story out of love for who Ian was, or fight the truth for the sake of who he can never be again. Poppy picks reality. It hurts. She lets it. And in that hurt, she becomes exactly what the Ascended feared: unmanageable. Everything converges: oaths, armies, and the long shadow of a crown that lied for generations. Battle doesn't feel grand, it feels personal. Poppy fights not for symbols, but for breath, for the right to wake tomorrow and choose again. Castile fights like a man who finally believes the future might want him in it. The woven tear through the enemy's pretty script. The Ascended bear their true theology: consume or be consumed. In the crush of it, vows are spoken that aren't cages. They're anchors. Poppy doesn't surrender to a role. She authors one. She claims space with her blade and her name, refuses to be traded, refuses to be saved like an object. The tide turns because people move, because truths said aloud are harder to bury. When the last push hits, Poppy stands where everyone can see and decides out loud. This isn't the end of a rescue. It's the start of a reign the old world can't stomach. Silence after thunder is never silent. The map redraws itself in whispers. Alliances shift, enemies harden, and Poppy's name moves from secret to headline. The personal cost is real. Trust scarred, grief with a pulse, but the gain is bigger: agency that won't be voted down. Castile is beside her, not in front. The Wolven are behind her, not beneath. The path to Book 3 isn't a road. It's a throne no one knows how to approach, which is perfect. Let them learn. This book isn't about prophecy choosing a girl. It's about a girl choosing herself, then dragging prophecy into the light to see if it still holds. Consent isn't a subplot, it's the engine. Poppy refuses the pedestal and the pity, keeps only what turns her into a person with teeth. Castile learns that love without honesty is just a prettier cage. The Wolven show how loyalty and freedom can fit in the same body. Final cascade: the Ascended's divinity was hunger, the Craven were fallout, and Atlantia was never the monster. Fear was. If that breaks your favorite narrative, good. Broken stories let the truth breathe. If you want the next chapter of this war, and you do, hit like and subscribe, then cue up Book 3. The old gods aren't the only ones awake anymore.